Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for our 10 o'clock session for the USCA National Distance Learning Week Conference. For this 10 o'clock hour, we bring to you Danthony Jackson, who is a graduate assistant, a student in public relations, Student Society of America from the University of Southern Miss. And he's bringing a webinar presentation to you today on etiquette and social manners, focusing on the power of image. If you should want a copy of his handout, please refer to the link that's in the bottom right of your screen. Click on the title of that presentation, click the download files button, and follow any on-screen instructions to get that delivered to your computer. And you can print it or download it and save it. Should you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the chat area and I will help Anthony moderate those questions. Towards the end of the session, his session survey link will be pushed out to your browser. It's literally 2 questions. If you would take a moment to fill that out, I'm sure he would appreciate that. So right now I'm going to turn it over to D'Anthony. And again, if you have any questions, leave them in the chat area and you can go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Otwell. Good morning, everyone. I'm Danthony Jackson, and welcome to my webinar. Today, as Dr. Outlaw said, we will be discussing etiquette and social manners, focusing on the power of image. And I'd like to bring your attention to a few things before I begin. As you can see at the bottom of this slide, you can see my Twitter handle, D'Anthony Jackson without the N. Please feel free. We'll make this fun as possible to tweet me any questions, advice, and anything that you would like that I don't mention throughout this slide. And there's also the conference hashtag. When you tweet me, please use that hashtag if you do not mind. All right. So, etiquette, as we understand, is the conduct or procedure required by good or prescribed by authority to be observed in social or official life. And social manners, we understand, is how one acts or conducts him or herself in a public place around others. And of course, there are more than 8 rules to etiquette and social manners, but for this presentation's sake and time's sake, we're going to focus on these 8 rules, and I'm pretty sure everyone can benefit from these. One, smile and make eye contact. When speaking with someone, you want to make them feel as if they are the only person in the room, even if they really are the only person. Make them feel the way you would like to feel. We all know sometimes talking to someone new easily become, awkward for people who are shy. It could definitely be nerve-wracking. And your goal is to make them comfortable while talking to them and have good eye contact and a pleasant face is the first step to doing this. Two, early is on time and on time is late. One thing that I've learned in my years of working with professionals and being in school, especially grad school, being on time is very important, whether that be for a meeting, lunch, dinner, or whatever event you're attending. Be sure to wait, not to waste people's time. However, if you are late, there are only a few acceptable excuses for being late. But if you are late, these 3 forms of communication will make up for you being a few minutes late. And that's a big maybe. If you have their cell phone number in this era and time, a text could be sufficient. Apologize and make sure they know you're on your way. A call or email or text. Reasons being early is important. One, time is money. Someone is paying for your time, whether it is your employer or a client. Being on time shows who you are. Great opportunities are offered to people who are perceived as reliable. Two, being late um, shows an inability to manage yourself and, in turn, an inability to manage others. Three, being on time indicates that you value your time and the time of the person paying for that time, which could possibly impact your reputation, being that that could be the first time you're meeting this individual. Number four, You won't miss an opportunity where you could potentially strike a national deal or lose one, for example. Number five, being late means that the other person could have been using their time more effectively. Make sure you are polite and communicate your position before you are late. Um, Number six, being late puts you under pressure, which is very important. Um, with an increased likelihood of a sloppy job and errors, which is definitely what you do not want. And it also puts other people under pressure or behind schedule. Number seven, people won't respect your time, especially when you need it. Number eight, whether people don't mind waiting, don't underestimate the fact that they will still hold it against you. And of course, that's human nature because it shows a lack of value for their time, indicates poor self management and disorganization. Um, be late once, they will remember forever. And if you think about it, why should they invest in you? Um, Number nine, the last one is it's just good manners and shows decent values. How do you feel when you are on time and others are running late? Number three, never greet from your seat. Stand, of course, smile, and speak. Say hello, I'm so and so, whatever your name is. And during your introduction, remember to offer your hand for a handshake. And this leads to the proper handshake. This is very important for men. We sometimes forget how strong we are and can easily make someone uncomfortable. A handshake that is too soft can be uncomfortable as well, um, as one that's crushing. Don't think much into it. Just try not to break the person's you're greeting hand, but then know you mean business and try to be very professional. Your handshake should be firm but not crushing, as you can see in the picture. A few things to remember. The handshake should be approximately 2 to 5 seconds. Any shorter than 2 seconds is very awkward, and any longer than 5 seconds can be very awkward as well. Um, be aware of your other hand when greeting someone and shake hand in up and down motion. Number four, gossip about the success of others. It is so easy to get caught up in the trap of gossiping about someone else when there's nothing to talk about at an event, at lunch, dinner, breakfast. When this urge comes, try to think of anything good a person has done and talk about that. It says a ton about your character, and the person you'll talk to will gain a newfound respect and trust for you because they will understand if they will not gossip about someone in a negative light. To me, I can almost trust that they will behave this way when I'm not around. Number five, be pressed and be polished. Image is powerful, people. How you look, how you represent yourself, what you know, and how well you can communicate that says a lot about what you think of yourself and what you want others to think of you. No matter how many times we say looks doesn't matter, it does. How you represent yourself a lot of times says a lot about the kind of work you're capable of. When you meet someone for the first time, be sure to be pressed and polished. Looks can um, only get you so far, however. Know your craft and do the work. Um, and a very important note here: how you look does not by far you by far mean you are qualified for position or make you any better than the next person. Um, but how you dress can just be an additional to the entire package that you as you represent yourself. Number six, mind your table manners. This section is very important because sometimes we forget about etiquette at the table. So I'm going to go through a few rules. It's there are more rules than this, but I narrowed it down to some of the more important rules when at the table. Number one, seating etiquette. Your host may have seating arrangements in mind, so you should allow them to direct you to your seat. As the host, you should suggest the seating arrangements. In a restaurant, the guest of honor should sit in the best seat at the table, and usually that is, one with the back of the chair facing the wall. Once the guest of honor's seat is determined, the host should sit to his or her left. Other people are then offered seats around the table. Number two, napkin etiquette. At informal meals, place the napkin in your lap immediately upon seating. During formal occasions, before unfolding the napkin, wait for the host to remove their napkin from the table and unfold it into place. Number three, food service etiquette. During service of a formal dinner, the food is brought to each diner at the table. The server presents the platter or bowl on the diners to the left. At a more casual meal, either the host dishes the food onto guest plates for them to pass around the table, or the diners help themselves to the food and pass it to others as necessary. Number four, deciding which knife or fork or spoon to use is made easier by the outside in table manners rules. Using utensils on the outside first and working your way inwardly. Number five, when to start eating. At a small table of only two or four people, wait until everyone else has been served before starting to eat. At a formal or business meal, you should either wait until everyone is served to start or begin when the host has asked you. Number six, handling utensils. At formal dinners, fork is in left hand turned downward. You use your fork to spear and lift food to your mouth. If your knife is not needed, it remains on the table. However, at informal meals, the dinner fork may be held upward, which is considered American table manners. Number seven, passing the food. Pass to the right. One diner either holds the dish as the next diner takes some food, or he or she hands it to the person who then serves him or herself. Any heavy or awkward dishes are put on the table and then passed. Number eight, when you resting utensils, when you pause to raise a sip of your beverage or to speak with someone, rest your utensils by placing your knife and fork on your plate near the center, slightly angled in an inverted V, and with the tips of the knife and fork pointing toward each other, which would be the image that's on the left. Number nine, meals in. Um, at a formal affair, plates are removed by professional staff, but as most informal meals are served without help of guests or two, at a family meal, members clear their own plates. Rule number seven, turn the M upside down. And rule number eight, give thanks. This rule has personally gotten me where I am today. Therefore, I'm sharing it with you. When someone takes the time to meet with you under any circumstance, be sure to say thanks. That could be for a meeting, for breakfast, for dinner, um, any kind of meeting with anyone. Be sure to give thanks and say thanks when leaving. And in a professional setting, follow up with some kind of email or phone call, giving that person thanks and telling them thanks for their time. First impressions. It takes just a quick glance, maybe 3 seconds, for someone to evaluate you when you meet for the first time. In this short time, the other person forms an opinion about you based on your appearance, your body language, your demeanor, your mannerism, and how you address. And all the eight rules that we've discussed and went over are great ways to make a great first impression. Facts. Fact one: we make decisions about people within the first 3 seconds of meeting them, whether you notice or not. And two, then we spend the next 90 seconds trying to confirm our first impression. And if anyone have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thanks, D'Anthony. For those who came in a little bit later, if you want a copy of his presentation, you may click on the bottom right uh, corner of your screen to click on his presentation and then click download files, and then you will get a version to your computer. I see someone is typing, so hold back just a moment, D'Anthony. And while the questions are coming in, I'm going to push his survey out to your browser. And if you would take probably 15 to 30 seconds to fill that out, I'm sure he'll appreciate that. I actually learned something new today, D'Anthony. During the time my daughter was, I don't know, sixth or seventh grade, I sent her to an etiquette class where they learned to turn your fork upside down to indicate that you were done with your meal.
Hmm.
So I see that was different from your kind of turning your fork and your knife to the right hand side. So that was
Yes.
interesting. Okay, Ethel, can you see the chat box, D'Anthony? Ethel has a question for you.
Oh, okay. Can everyone see this question, or should I read it out?
You can read it out if you want. It'll
Okay.
be in your recording along with your answer.
Awesome. Okay, so I have a question that says, what age do you think this information should be shared? I say start teaching and sharing this information with as young as possible. As long as they're eating at table and going to formal and informal dinners, definitely they need to know this information and how to conduct themselves at any kind of dinner in any kind of social setting.
Because some of you are on mobile devices, uh, I have granted you audio access because I know it's kind of hard to type on the on your cell phone. So if you want to verbally say something, feel free. You have audio access right now. Do you have any questions for him?